The nations were united. The Big Five, China, Russia, Britain, France, and the United States, led the peoples of the world as they launched a rule of international law and a Bill of Human Rights.
In the aftermath of the Second World War, the UN really was an expression of hope, and it was the birth of a global project and that everyone has a stake in. So this is really about saying that I am a citizen of truth. I think to people it represented the idea
ability of the United Nations to mediate a serious conflict and to avert a dangerous threat to the peace.
That is a model that's been hugely successful. It helped the peace in places like Namibia, El Salvador, Colombia, Sierra Leone.
Parliament will begin. Honourable Member of Parliament, please take your seat. Today we convene for a special debate on international affairs in honour of the United Nations 80th anniversary, which is our motion is the United Nations losing its voice as the world premier diplomatic stage. So the issue affect a global peace, justice and the life of millions. We will hear from the government, oppositions, independent voice and the civil society. I now call upon the government MP to open the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. For 18 years, the United Nations has stood as the pillar of global cooperation. In a world divided by borders, languages and ideologies, the United Nations has built bridges through peacekeeping mission in Africa, the Middle East and Asia. Humanitarian aid reaching conflict zones, global agreements like the Paris Climate Accord and also international agencies such as WHO, UNICEF, UNDP and also UNHCR. Without the United Nations, pandemics would spread uncontrolled, wars would escalate without restraint and smaller nations like ours would have no platform to voice our concerns. So, is the United Nations perfect? Of course not. But saying it is losing voice ignores the millions of lives saved and protected every year. The United Nations is not failing. It is evolving, adapting and still crucial to world peace.
I see. Thank you for the Honourable Member. Now I invite the opposition MP.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. With all due respect, the government overlooks what many nations already knows. The United Nations influence has weakened. The main reason is because the outdated power structure of the Security Council, which gives 5 nations, the US, the UK, France, China and Russia, the veto power to block global actions. And we can see clearly that they do block them. The humanitarian ceasefire has been denied. The sanction debate has been stalled. The peacekeeping mission has been delayed and mass atrocities has left unanswered. How can the United Nations claim to be the voice of humanity when one country can silence the others 193 countries? The world has changed, but the United Nations is still operating like it's the 1945. If reform doesn't happen soon, the United Nations risks becoming a symbolic institution. They are loud in speeches but silent in action.
Okay, thank you, the opposition. Next, the independent MP. Miss.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. Ms. Speaker, both sides speak truth. The United Nations have saved lives, but it's also paralyzed by political competitiveness among major powers. Let me highlight 3 realities. The first one is humanitarian impact is real. UNICEF reduced child mortality, WHO provide emergency health response, and WFP feeds millions. The second reality is the governance system is outdated. Yeah, the unfortunate truth is the veto power is imbalanced, under-representation of developing countries, slow decision making, and funding dependency on wealthy nations. The last realities is the global conflict are more complex. Civil war, cyber warfare, climate-driven disasters. The United Nations struggles to respond efficiently. Therefore, the question is not whether the UN is losing its voice, but whether the world is listening.
We will now resume the debate. I invite the activists, representative to share the people perspective.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker, for this opportunity. I stand here today not as a politician, but as the voice of people who are never invited into this room and never given a microphone and never given a choice. On the ground, Ms. Speaker, the world does not debate. The world is bleeding. When bombs fall from the sky, when hospital collapse, when a child cry for her mother who never answer again. They don't ask about resolution. They do not know what a veto is. They ask only one simple question: where is the help? Sometimes the United Nations help, yes, but too often it comes too late. Too late because of the meeting, too late because of the politics, too late because powerful people argue while innocent people die. Refugees wait not for a days, not for a month, but for years. Years without a house, years without a country, and years without a future. Children grow up with explosion as bedtime sound and fear as their daily living. Ms. Speaker, every delay it has a price, and that price is paid by human life. Not number, not report, but a life. If the United Nations want to regain the trust of the world, then words are not longer enough. Reform cannot be shown, human suffering cannot wait. Thank you, Ms. Speaker.
Thank you, activists. We will now proceed with the cross-examination between the MP.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. My question is to be directed to the government MP. If the United Nations is so strong, why did it fail to prevent certain modern conflicts? Why do veto powers override global justice?
The UN cannot force compliance. It depends on cooperation. Blame should not be placed solely on the institution, but on nations that misuse their veto.
Isn't that exactly why reform is needed? The system allows paralysis.
Reform must be gradual. Dismantling the United Nations or weakening it will cause chaos.
No one is dismantling it. We demand modernization, accountability, and equality.
And we demand immediate action. Children cannot wait for gradual reform. They are hungry now, they are dying now, and they are afraid now.
Order, please. This parliament will adjourn to the next session.
So this parliament will proceed with the final statements. Government MP.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. The United Nations is still the most inclusive forum on earth. It remains essential. Rather than declaring it lost, we must help strengthen it.
The United Nations ideals remain noble, but its structure is collapsing under political tensions. Without immediate reform, the world may need alternative.
Ms. Speaker, the United Nations stand as a crossroads. Reform or decline. Its voice is not lost, but is drowned out by competing powers. A stronger, more democratic United Nations is the only way forward.
At the local level, the United Nations still give hopes, but the hopes fading. People do not need more speech. They do not need at least debate. They need action. Reform is not a choice. It is a necessity for survival, And the United Nations is for humanity for humanity.
Thank you for all the representative. So, Honorable Member Lee, today debate has come to a 3 conclusion and 3 truths, which is the first one, UN still essential for global cooperation. Second, UN structure is outdated and need a reform from us. And also 3, the last one, humanity demand stronger, faster and fairer United Nations. So is the United Nations wise? Perhaps I think that is not entirely by our debate today. So it is actually struggling to be heard in the word louder than ever. So the fate of the UN is not predetermined. It depends on the nations like ours, and it will the global community to modernize, democratize and empower it. So this parliament will stand adjourned.
What about your statement? We don't have any statement. Sorry, the UN lost its voice.
No comment, sorry, no comment. For the statement,
Sorry.
any further statement from you, Miss?
about the
No statement, only I do for me. I'm sorry, thank you.
Now proceed with the cross-examination with the MP.